Charlotte FC's Patrick Agyemang scoring 2 tonight as the Crown would score a win over Philly. They've been hot, and we are coming in hot. This is Charlotte Sports Live. Mike Lacett next to Gabe McDonald. Folks, all I can say, strap in, because tonight is going to be fun.
That didn't happen. The Hornets ended up taking Salon. He's definitely a raw guy. And I think when you look at him, you can't look at the stats. You can't look at what he doesn't do right. He's not a great defender. His footwork's not great. You got to look at the potential.
Moving into a land of both grass and sometimes artificial turf. You've just crossed over into the high school football highlight zone.
All right, Grace, thank you very much. And all those things are true, except, yes, I am the guy. I am the guy that's picking the Panthers. The ARCA Series race won by Tanner Gray earlier tonight. He was in contention in this Truck Series race for quite some time.
We make picks every week on the show. You got Bucks, Saints, Falcons. Are you picking Carolina to win any of those games right now?
Not one single one.
Not one single one.
You watch the Bucks.
The business he's talking about is esports, a business where, yes, actual physical trades exist. Give me a second.
St. John is currently a star player for the Hornets Venom GT, operating under the gamer tag Big Saint. It's a shoe. That's all it is, right? To some, sure, but not Michael Griffin.
Sneakers tell the story of your life.
This pair has got quite the tale. A real rags to riches story. It's how one Charlotte man literally started from the bottom to become a sneaker king.
My whole thing was other people didn't believe in me, so I was like, well, I don't believe in myself.
It was 2020, and life had hit the 31-year-old hard. He was living with his dad and not quite sure of his purpose. Then one day began thinking about what he was passionate about, and it all came back to shoes.
It's a true expression of who you are.
But what happens when wearing a pair of Nikes just isn't good enough? Griffin wanted to do something more. He wanted to make the shoe pop.
Being able to do custom, you can make something that's truly you.
A great idea in theory, if he had the art materials and an actual art background, two things Griffin severely lacked. What he did have, however, was a stimulus check and a woman who believed in him.
He is very determined. If he says he's going to make something happen, he always makes it happen, no matter what.
And so the two set out on making the impossible happen. Money was tough to come by, but that didn't stop Griffin from becoming a master of his craft.
It's not going to happen overnight, so I just got it in my mind that this is something I wanted.
Before long, Griffin got pretty good. However, he still needed a break. Then one day, just prior to the start of the 2022 season, opportunity came calling.
I got in front of Brian Burns and got his shoe size and told him I wasn't trying to make a sale, that I wanted to get my work out there, and I bet on myself. And that truly is what changed our life. It worked.
Burns liked what he saw. He became a client, and soon a lot of his teammates did too.
LaVisca Chenault Jr., Derek Brown, Frankie Luvo, Xavier Woods, Chuba Hubbard.
The names keep on coming, but Griffin isn't running low on ideas. This one, worn by Adam Thielen on Christmas Eve, is based on The Grinch. It has TVs in it. Adam could have technically watched clips from the movie during timeouts. Crazy?
It depends on who you ask. I personally how cool.
They're definitely unique. But then again, so is the pair Griffin tossed up on the power line the day he and his wife opened up their custom shoe store last summer.
We're chasing a dream. We're working hard, and that's what it comes down to.
It's quite a story, and it's only getting started.
I'm Gabe McDonald, the mic. That is not news that anybody wanted to hear around the Carolinas.
100% true. Tonight, this is true. We're going one-on-one with rookie wide receiver Jonathan Mingo. But first, as he just alluded to, we have to talk about the guy that likely won't be throwing in the ball this Sunday in Seattle. At this point, it doesn't look like Bryce Young will be able to go. Young was seen at practice today, but for the second day in a row, he was not an active participant. The injury report says he has an ankle injury, but we've seen no indication of its severity. For what it's worth, he did look fine walking around this afternoon. No matter how serious it is, there's no denying he's earned the respect of his teammates and coaches for playing through the pain on Monday night. All right, so the last time the Knicks played a Game 7 at the Garden, that's how I looked. I was 12, and it was 1995. I watched the game at home. My coworker Grace did not, because she wasn't born yet. Her birthday came just a couple of days after the Pacers stunned New York at the Garden. She was born in June. And so now, 29 years later, we go back to the Garden for what we thought to be another Knicks-Pacers classic. It turned out to be anything but, although we would not have known it in the first quarter. Both teams not backing down. Pascal Siakam and Dante DiVincenzo getting acquainted. Double technicals were called. Kemba Walker has a new job involving the purple and teal. Plus, we're getting you ready for the race this weekend in Chicago. However, tonight we're starting at the bank for a game lacking in star power for Miami. And good news for Charlotte. 48,000 fans on hand. All disappointed Lionel Messi didn't change his mind and play. We knew he was going to miss this one because of his Copa commitments. But maybe what we didn't know is that Miami is more than just a one-man show. 30th minute, Robert Taylor scoring the game's first goal. Miami up 1-0. However, it would not stay that way for long. 11 minutes later, Patrick Augiman making things happen, this time off the deflection. He would take in for his team best 6th goal of the season. This game was tied at 1-1. For quite some time, it looked like we were headed for a draw, but then disaster for Charlotte happened. 86th minute, you hate to see this. Benjamin Kromowski with the go-ahead goal. It would prove to be the winning goal, and then making matters worse, in stoppage time, Augiman gets called for a red card. Watch it right there. He stomped on his opponent's foot. You can't do that. So not only did he get the boot for this one, Charlotte now will not have him for their next one as well. Crown go down 2-1. They have dropped 2 in a row. As to the next category, look, I think they used their resources very, very well. Look at how they got that #1 pick. Now, yeah, I know getting rid of DJ was tough, but they took risks. I appreciate that. And in free agency, they paid the guys that needed to get paid. They saved on the other guys that had to get saved on. $27 million under in the salary cap. That's 3rd best in the league. Solid, wonderful A-.
And it will be Star Wars night. Our Force-sensitive friend Mike Lacett is here with a breakdown of this match. Mike?
Well, Carla, contrary to what Obi-Wan Kenobi felt, I do not sense a disturbance in the Force regarding Charlotte FC. Now, yes, there have been a couple of tough games, but they're not panicking. Be proud, Yoda would, because after all, fear leads to anger. Head coach Dean Smith maintaining balance regarding his emotions. He actually feels the team made improvements in the loss to New York and is not headed to the same fate as the 1st or 2nd Death Star. Smith believes if they stay the course, they will win, much like a young Anakin Skywalker did in the big pod race back on Tatooine.
The thing you're never in control of.
That is the right mindset. Now, as it turns out, Smith himself is a big Star Wars fan. I asked him what is his favorite movie of the bunch, and he said, unquestionably, Episode 4, which actually is, in fact, the first Star Wars. Now back to Carla, who no doubt had not a single clue about what I was talking about. Carla?
Everything is a what have you.
When it comes to the entire FS1 race day crew, what you see really is what you get.
It was only a 312-lap race.
This is a sport that we know and we love.
I think whoever is quick at the beginning of the race, that might not be the car at the end.
We've lived this, so the conversations, I think, come very easily to us.
They definitely need the luck of the...
Larry McReynolds, Jamie McMurray, and Shannon Spake have a kind of camaraderie that can't be faked.
Later, I'm glad that you mentioned Christopher Bell.
Well, they make it look easy. The truth is, it's really not, even after doing 6 years of shows together.
We want things to be spontaneous, but you also have to have some structure too, because we're trying to do a lot in a pretty short time as far as our air window.
Is someone watching?
That structure is actually shaped a full 6 days before they hit air. A team of more than 50 people helped create the content. Then on Sunday, hours before showtime, it's all presented in an open discussion in which it's decided what stays.
The track is different, the surface.
And what goes.
You had, I don't know, 8,000 or 9,000 concrete bleachers on the front.
I think it is important that everyone in the room has a voice, and because every piece of the show is helping tell the story.
Nice to officially meet you, David.
By the time they arrive in studio, there's a plan in place. However, there's also an understanding it all can change.
Sometimes you're in a situation where the show has to collapse or expand.
Everyone has to be flexible. Fortunately, the real star of the show has that down to a science. Hopefully we're not ruining the magic, but that big spacious garage it looks like the crew is broadcasting from is actually a big spacious green screen, much like this one. Now up close, it's not much to look at, but on TV,
Did you know that you were doing
they can
this?
do just about anything.
Regan Smith is standing by.
One segment we can start in front of a big window, and then we can go to the balcony. It just gives us versatility.
In turn, it makes their job a little more fun. And unlike a background,
If that goes home and plays into the living room,
that is something that's as real as it gets.
that's the most important thing.
You're clear, sir. All right, thank you.
TV magic indeed. Mike Lacett, Charlotte Sports Live.